My name is Abike Dabiri-Erewa, and I'm the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. I used to work at the State House, then with Mrs. Babangida, and then Alhaji Abubakar Mogaji, who was the President General of the Market Men and Women's Association. Anytime she comes to Abuja, I was always with her, along with Mrs. Kasumo, late Mrs. Kasumo, who was Asiwaju's sister. She passed on many years back. So when we were with Alhaji Mogaji, I mean, Asiwaju will always pop in to see his mother in Abuja to check out how she's doing. That's how I got to know him first. And first thing for me was his relationship with his mother. Very caring, very dutiful son. I would always check on him. And then for me, that used to be with the late Mrs. Kasumo, it just took me like a sister. Just like Mrs. Kasumo was his sister. And that was how my Asiwaju story began. So first impression, a very caring son who loved his mother passionately, and his mother loved him passionately. And then as time went on, I decided to go into politics. I decided to contest elections. So the first thing I did was I'd been going to my constituency, Ikorodu, to see what was going on. I'll be attending ward meetings. And then I said, listen, I think I'll give this a shot. So I first went to Mrs. Tinubu and told her about it. And she said, oh, wow. We will see Asiwaju. And then when the time came, I went to see Asiwaju and told him, I want to contest elections. And he said, really, we need women like you in politics. But do your work at the grassroots. And I said, I'm doing just that, sir. And he gave me all the support, but I didn't take anything for granted. I was always in my constituency, met a lot of people, did all I had to do. And then Asiwaju really, gave me all the support that I needed. Now, when I got into Parliament, I was chairman House Committee of Media. Now, I was made the spokesperson of the Parliament. That was unusual, right? Very unusual. How can an opposition person be spokesperson of Parliament? It was like, how is she going to do it? There were many naysayers. It was like, no, you can't do it. You can't be the spokesperson. You can't be in opposition. But guess what? The very first letter I received came from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the leader of the party, governor of Lagos State. He wrote me, congratulating me and encouraging me. And he said in that letter that I believe you will do the job well, give it all it takes. So for all other naysayers, it meant nothing. And to God be the glory, I indeed, gave the House some very, very credible image as a chairman House Committee on Media. And then fast forward, even when I became chairman House Committee on Diaspora, Asiwaju, was one of the very early people to encourage those in the diaspora. So I used to seek a lot of advice for him. One thing about Asiwaju, he will always be there to guide you. He's never going to let you fall. If there's something you're not doing quite wrong, there's somebody you can talk to, then he encourages conversations and ideas. I recall that we'll sit with Asiwaju, put a lot of things together, and then he's able to, take a few decisions by listening to people around him. So he does a whole lot of that. And then talking about women, we're not too many in Parliament, it's never been many, but at the same time, we had 3 from Lagos State. It only had to be Asiwaju who gave us all the support and backing as women. And then for me, let's face it, Asiwaju has always been somebody you want to see. So you have a whole lot of people waiting to see him. But it gives us that respect as women. When we're there, it ensures that it doesn't delay you unnecessarily. We would even joke with you, hey, okay, you're going home to cook, Abi, something like that. And it gives you that respect and understands what it takes to be a woman. And, very supportive, very caring. And I remember that in 1992, when it was in the Senate, my own sister did a book, Mothers of a Nation. She just approached Asiwaju and he said, oh, really? He gave her 5,000 naira. I'll never forget. And that was big money. Then he didn't really know her. He was like, oh, you're doing something on women, I'll support you. And he did. Guess what? Other people promised, they never gave anything. But he gave the 5,000 naira, fulfilled the promise, and I'm sure she will never forget that. I recall, for instance, one of my toughest moments in Parliament, where I sponsored a bill, the Press Council Act. It was a bill to say that the media needs self-regulation. What we're saying is that we could see it coming, what the media is today, particularly with the advent of social media. And I just felt, well, we should self-regulate. Oh, everybody attacked me. Nobody wanted positive change in the media. But I was surprised. Asiwaju just places a call and encourages me. Abike, be strong. I know what you're going through. What else do you expect from a leader? Just calls you from the rooms. Abike, be strong. I know what you're going through. Just be strong about it. You know, those are leadership traits that Asiwaju has. And not just to me, but to many people who have been privileged to get to know him. And I have to confess that sometimes when I'm broke, I'll still rush to Asiwaju. You know, he's very generous, very giving. And I think Asiwaju is even forgiving almost to a fault. He doesn't keep grudges. He just believes that we're all human beings. If you err, even God forgives. I mean, I've known Asiwaju for decades now, and he has been the same. For those who say, oh, he's not healthy. For the last time I was with Asiwaju and my husband, he was about to get up. Do you know, we stood for about an hour and a half, and the conversation continued. You know, I'm sure some of you saying he's not healthy are not half as healthy as him. And that is my Asiwaju story.
You're not the chairman of committee